Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Yas Chandasa Vrishabho Vishwarupaha Chandobhyodhyamritaat Sambhabhuva Samendro Medhaya Aspranotu Amritasya Devadharano Bhuyasam Shariram Me Vicharshanam Jihva Me Madhumattama Karnabhyam Bhuri Vishruvam Brahmana Koshosi Medhaya Pihita Shrutam Me Gopaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sthapakaya Cha Dharmasya Sarvadharmasvarupine Avatara Varisthaya Ramakrishnaya Te Namaha. Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shrutva Pranamami Muhurmuhu. Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukhaswarupaya Swamine Tapaharine Kalindi Pullakamale Madhavena Kridarata Brahmananda Namastubhyam Sadguru Lokanayaka Yogananda Premanandaschanye Vaye Cha Parshada Ramakrishna Gata Prana Sarvan San Pranamamyaham. Welcome to the Italian yoga group. All of you know that the Sarva Yoga International is completing 20 years of its glorious existence, spreading the message of yoga in Italy in particular, Europe in general.
Per diffondere lo yoga tradizionale, specialmente in Italia ma anche in Europa.
So you know, Antonietta's husband Eros started this Italian Yoga Federation, which recently completed 50 years. And Sarva Yoga International is completing 20 years.
Quindi abbiamo compiuto 50 anni della Federazione Italiana Yoga con Eros presidente e Sarva Yoga 20 anni.
I had the fortune to be associated with both of them for nearly 15-16 years now.
Lui dice che ha avuto la fortuna di essere associato con noi. We have the chance and the honor to be associated with you. E con noi da diversi anni, una quindicina, 20 anni circa.
Every time she visits Belur Math, Pujya Swami Bhajananandaji Maharaj meets all of you and then gives us words of wisdom. And he is so happy that all of you are so devoted to yoga, serious about spiritual practices.
E ogni volta che sono venuta con gruppi, Swami Puja Swami Bhajanananda Maharaj ha sempre fatto un intervento speciale ed è molto contento del fatto che ci siamo così tanti e numerosi devoti alla causa dello yoga, con sincerità.
Of course, last time when you came, he was slightly younger.
L'ultima volta che siamo venuti ovviamente era più giovane anche lui.
Now he is only 91 years young.
E ora è giovane di 91 anni.
So he has kindly consented to meet you today and tomorrow, and he will talk about spiritual life, some principle general, and some discussion of samadhi also, Antonietta wanted. So all put together in about an hour and a half. So you may have some questions if you like at the end. 15 minutes will be allotted for that. Now we request Antonietta to say a few words on the behalf of the Italian Sarva Yoga International, the Italian Yoga Federation.
Thank you. Allora, ci farà un intervento questa mattina che parlerà della spiritualità in generale e poi dell'argomento che avevo chiesto. Poi dopo vi spiego anche il nostro percorso che abbiamo fatto, che ha dei temi per ogni tappa del Samadhi, poi lo incontreremo ancora domani. E adesso c'è una qualche presentazione, insomma, in onore della federazione, anche che lui ringrazia dei 50 anni di lavoro insieme e poi di quelli dei 20 anni di Sarva Yoga. Thank you so much. Ho dimenticato di dire, se ci sono poi domande in modo molto ordinato e sintetico, alla fine magari le possiamo fare. Se è un po' affaticato magari gliela risparmiamo anche, vero?
Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Saratva Pranamami Muhur Muhur. I'm very glad, first of all, my respectful regards to our Atma Priyanandaji and also to his name I forget.
Anthony.
No, here. Japasiddhanandaji, both of them I may offer my salutations. And then to Antonietta, to her also. So one thing I want to tell, as most of you are Catholics, and I can share several things about Christian mysticism with them, with all of you. Though I was not born in a Catholic background, but I studied Christian mysticism and especially Catholic mysticism a great deal in depth. So I have many things to share with you. The first thing about Christian saints is many of them you will see if you read their lives, you can see they underwent a great conversion and after some kind of illness. In the same way, I too exchanged. At the age of 16, I exchanged health with spirituality. So I will begin today since all of you are Christians, I will today begin with Christian spiritual experience, Catholic spiritual experience. One of the best books on Christian spirituality is The Graces of Interior Prayer by Paulin, by the French author Paulin. Graces of Interior Prayer, that I forget the original French title, I forget now. Graces of Interior Prayer by Father Paulin. In that book, he speaks of 4 kinds of spiritual experience. What are the four kinds. The first one is visio imaginativa, that is vision, imaginative vision. That does not mean it is imaginary, but imaginative vision, that is a vision gained by the infusion of divine grace interiorly, inside. It is not gained through external sense organs. That is meant by what is meant by visio imaginativa, imaginative vision, that some of you might have had kind of vision, this imaginative vision, that is a vision that is gained without the help of external organs. It is purely what is called infused grace. God infuses this vision in our minds. So if we pray, my case, I followed more or less the Christian way of prayer. So I prayed, and at last, by the grace of Thakur Sri Ramakrishna, I think I got finally a kind of inner awakening by the God's grace. So this began with an imaginative vision. That is the first type of experience one can have. And secondly, lumen sapientiae. Sapientiae means intellectual. So lumen means light. Lumen sapientiae, a divine light that is gained without any external organs. The kind of inner light we see, that is, we identify this inner light with our Atman. Atman, within all of us, there is the Atman or the Self, our real nature, according to Vedanta, is neither the body nor the mind, but the Atma. The India or Hinduism is perhaps the only religion which holds that the real self of man's real soul, is different from mind. In all the schools, even in Catholic belief, the soul is identified with the mind. There must be a kind of substratum for the soul to exist. Whereas Vedanta holds, Vedanta, Sankhya and Yoga, Patanjali's Yoga, all these hold that there is no need for a substratum. The soul exists by itself. So that as a kind of inner light. All the other schools, they regard that soul or consciousness needs a kind of substratum, a basis for the soul to exist. But Vedanta holds that no substratum or basis is necessary. The Atman or the Self the soul exists by itself. And then, but when you say the Atma or the soul, that what it means is that our real nature is of his pure consciousness. Consciousness is not something sitting or based on a substratum. Consciousness itself exists by itself. Consciousness, this is difficult to believe. How can consciousness exist by itself, you may ask. But this is the Indian belief from Sankhya, Yoga, Vedanta, all these schools. They all accept that consciousness exists by itself. Our real nature is pure consciousness. Consciousness is not something produced by the mind, but consciousness exists by itself. You can hear my words. I'm sorry, my voice is very, very low. Yes. Thank you. I'm glad to know that I can at least hear my words. So, the Catholic, I told you about the Christian experience, spiritual experiences. The first type of experience is visio imaginativa. That is the first imaginative vision. Then comes, it is called visio corporalis. I think it is visio corporalis. That is corporeal vision. Corporeal vision means you see the physical form, body itself. The physical form. This you will find in several Christian mystics had. In Hinduism, this is very rare. If you study the life of Sri Ramakrishna, you will find there was a devotee of Sri Ramakrishna by name Gopalir Ma. Gopalir Ma means the mother of Gopal. Mother of Gopal. She used to see Sri Krishna in physical form. Once they were all sitting in what is called Balaram Babu's drawing room. They were all sitting. Then this Gopalir Ma, she came and she said, this Gopal, where has he gone? Here he is here, he has gone here, and like that. She would run after this Gopal. Others nobody could see except her. Nobody could see Gopal. That is called, and Sri Ramakrishna also had the vision of Ramalal. Ramlal, when you used to take bath, then this boy Ram used to appear to him, and nobody else could see. That is called corporeal vision. Corporeal vision means the physical form. You see the physical form not with your ordinary eyes, human eyes, but it is a transcendental experience. It is an experience in which you see the physical form. Our Saint Sienna, what is her name? Saint Sienna. Saint, not Assisi, not Teresa. Catherine, yes. Saint Catherine of Siena. She used to have this corporeal vision, that is Christ in the physical form. That is called corporeal vision or visio corporealis. Then the third type of experience is yes, lumen sapientiae. Lumen sapientiae. Board is there. I can write here. Lumen sapientiae. Lumen means light. Sapientiae means wisdom or intelligence. So lumen sapientiae means you can call it intellectual vision. This is the immediate goal of mystical prayer. When you pray, you see the inner light. That inner light is the not ordinary light. Thakur Sri Ramakrishna used to say, when you see the inner light, it is the result of the awakening of the Kundalini power. So at that time he sees a strange new light, and he says, what is this? What is this? This is called inner, this is known as lumen sapientiae. And this is intellectual vision. Intellectual vision in English. It is known as intellectual vision. This is the immediate goal of mystical prayer. If you read the works of Saint Teresa and Saint John of the Cross and others, you will find mentioning this lumen sapientiae. Lumen sapientiae is light of inner wisdom. Light of wisdom. And that through that we understand many spiritual truths. The lumen sapientiae gives us many types of new kinds of experience. This is lumen sapientiae, and the third one and fourth one. First is lumen, that is visio imaginativa, imaginative vision, corporeal vision, and then imagine in this lumen sapientiae. And then the fourth is the last, highest one, is the lumen gloriae. Glorious. It is also, in English, it is known as beatific vision. Beatific vision. That only a few people got it. According to Catholic belief, only Mary's, that Virgin Mary, she had, and according to some people, the Saint Francis of Assisi, he had this experience, and a few others. They say the Ignatius Loyola, the founder of the order of preachers. What is it? That order of preachers called not Jesuits. No, not Jesuit. Jesuits, that is Ignatius Loyola. Yes, correct. I mean, there is another order of preachers. That is the Benedictine, Franciscan Benedictines, and another great saint. I forget his name. Anyway, he also, his followers, they claim that he too had about this. And in Eastern Church, to which I think most of you belong, the Eastern Church, but there is what is called, they believe that spiritual experiences take place through the darkness. In Advaita Vedanta, we hold that ignorance or ajnana, ignorance. It is through ignorance that we see Brahman. Shankara was very much against the visions gained in the positive way. That is through the, what is it called? Upasana. Upasana, according to Upasana, means meditation on a form, any kind of form, spiritual form. Through Upasana, you cannot realize Brahman, because in Upasana there is the kind of distinctions between the dhyata, that is the meditator, the object of meditation, and the meditation kriya, or the work of meditation. These 3, 4 are there. No, three are there. So with that, in Advaita experience is free from these distinctions. You see, you become one with Brahman. So this is not possible as long as you have got the distinctions in your mind, such as the knower, the known object known, and the knowing process. These 3 are divided of that. This is the Advaita view. In Advaita, there is no these distinctions between the knower, the known, and the knowing. These 3 are absent. Whereas in there that is in Advaita. In all forms of dualistic experience, there is the knower, the knower, the known, the object known, and the knowing process. So that is these three are present in ordinary experiences. So Shankara rejects these experiences, even lumen sapientiae and all that he rejects. So the highest experience in Advaita is divide of these distinctions between the knower, the known, the object known, and the knowing process. These three. This is called Triputi. So an experience, Advaita experience, is free from this Triputi. But in all Catholic or Christian experiences, the Triputi is there. Triputi cannot be removed. There is an attempt sometimes made to, for instance, then what is it? That German Vienna, what is his name? The mystic. No, Carl Jung is a modern. Eckhart. Eckhart is supposed to have, in many of his passages, seem to be like Advaita. He says there is no in higher experience. There is no experience of God as an object. God is an eternal subject in Hindu philosophy. God can never be objectified. He is eternal subject. God is eternal subject. Always is subject. He cannot be objectified. Anyway, so these are the 4 types of a mystical experience in Catholic tradition. This, if you read Russian mystics, among the Russian mystics, there was one great mystic by name Seraphim of Sarov. Seraphim of Sarov. He was a really great saint. Then there were other saint, the saint of Moscow, saint of Moscow. I forget his name nowadays. I can't remember words. The words I forget easily. So this another name saint was there, who is known as the patron saint of Moscow. He and they all belong to the Eastern Church. This saint of Moscow, they used to live in caves, that is the, what is it? It is called
The patron saint of Moscow, Saint Basil.
not Basil. Basil is different. Patron saint of Moscow. Sometimes Basil also is regarded as, but there is another saint of Moscow. I forget the name. In Eastern, you all belong to, I think, Eastern churches. Eastern church. In the painting, everything, there's our Antoinetta. She gave me a picture of Mother Madonna, the typical picture of Mother that is typical of Eastern Church. Then so there are 4 kinds of spiritual experience, and then now I come to my Gurudev. My Gurudev, that is my Guru. We speak about the Guru as Gurudev. My Gurudev was Swami Yatiswaranandaji. Yatiswarananda was in India. He was the head of our Madras or Chennai center. Later on, he went to Europe. He went to San Francisco, Hollywood, and finally he founded a Ramakrishna Mission Center in Philadelphia. Afterwards, he closed that center and came back to India, and he passed away in Bangalore. I would like to conclude my speech by referring to Swami Yatiswaranandaji. I met him when I was a college student. So then he had written a book called The Life Divine or Divine Life. I forget which it was, whether it was Life Divine or Divine Life.
Divine life.
Divine Life.
Life divine is from Shiva.
Shiva. No, that is by Aurobindo. Aurobindo. Anyway, the Divine Life. So that mostly it consists of passages selected from Upanishads and the Gita. The purpose of these selections is to assist you in meditation. Meditation, originally in English, the word meditation was used to mean reflection or deep thinking. Deep thinking. Swami Vivekananda used it in the sense of meditation, that is dhyan. Dhyan in yoga, you might come across the word dhyana. Dhyan in yoga. So Swami Vivekananda used the word meditation, dhyan. Dhyan is translated into English as meditation. Why? Because the correct translation of dhyan in English is contemplation. Contemplation is mystical experience and very difficult to pronounce. So Swamiji used the word meditation. Now everywhere meditation has become popular to mean dhyan. Dhyan is used to meditate. So Manan was the originally it used to be translated as meditation. The meditations of Marcus Aurelius. You might some of you might have read. It is a really wonderful book. One of the last Roman emperors was Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius, he has written a book called The Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. There, meditation means not dhyana, but reflection or thinking. So, manan means not meditation, though it is known as meditation. Manan means actually reflection or just thinking deeply. How to do manan? Unfortunately, the tradition of manan is disappearing. Those who study Advaita, the Advaita sadhana, there is practically no sadhana in Advaita. Whatever sadhana is there comes under 3 disciplines: Sravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Sravan, Manan, Nididhyasan. So this first is Sravan, that is hearing. It is not merely hearing. In once upon a time in India, there were no books. From the teacher, the knowledge was transmitted to the student by orally, by book, by word of mouth. He used to chant and the others would listen. That is why chanting, even now, the Vedas are generally chanted, rarely written down, chanted. So this chanting is known as Sravan. Sravan does not mean merely chanting, but chanting knowing the meaning. So Sravan includes what is generally known as reflection also. So chanting means that is Sravan, hearing. Hearing does not mean only hear listening. You listen with understanding. You listen and allow simultaneously. You also think about the meaning. That is called Sravan. According to in Advaita, there are 3 schools in Advaita. What are the 3 schools? First is 4 schools. Vartika school, Vivarana school, and then Bhamati school. These are 3 schools in Advaita Vedanta. First comes the Vartika school. Vartika school derives the name from the Sureshwara Acharya. Sureshwara Acharya, he wrote a commentary on Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. From that he wrote a Tika. Tika means a glass. Tika on Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. That he was not allowed to write a commentary on Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So he was allowed only to write a gloss, a tika on Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. That is known as Brihadaranyaka Upanishad Vartika. Vartika means expansion. development of a commentary. The commentaries are different kinds. In a gloss or a tika means just giving the difficult words, explaining the difficult words in the bhashya or commentary. In yoga, there is only one bhashya, Vyasa bhashya. The explanation of the bhashya, difficult words in the bhashya, is done by Vijnana Bhikshu, then Vachaspati Mishra and others. Yes. Vachaspati Mishra and others. So this is known as Vartika. No, this is known as Tattvaichardi. Tika. This is known as Tika. Tika is only explains the difficult words and passages in the bhashya. That is known as Tika. Whereas Vartika is an expansion of the bhashya. It is a development, further development of the bhashya. These Sureshanacharyas or Vachaspati Mishra is Vartika in Vijnana Bhikshu wrote Vartika. Yes. The Vartika is an expansion, further development of the bhashya. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the bhashya Upanishad, Shankara wrote bhashya on the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Vachaspati Mishra, he wrote Tika, not Tika. Vartika. Tika. Bhamati, that is Bhamati is, there is another Tika, not Tika. Vivarana. Yes. Vivarana. Panchapad, that is another. Panchapadika. A person by name is supposed to be Shankara's disciple, Padmapada. He wrote a brief commentary on Padma Shankara's commentary. The first 5, what is it called? Not sutra. There is in sutra in the no, not Brahmana. At the end, what is it called? Pada. Yes, Pada. So, Panchapadika, he wrote on the commentary, expanded only the first 5 padas. It is Vachaspati, Padmapada wrote, expanded the Shankara's commentary on the first 5 padas. The commentaries are divided in different ways. That is another subject. So the Padmapada, he expanded Shankara's, that is called Vivarana. Vivarana means expansion. He expanded Shankara's commentary on Brihadaranyaka Upanishad that consists the Upadgata. Upadgata or the introduction, which is known as Upadgata in Sanskrit, that itself contains 13,000 verses. Then after writing this 13,000 verses, Vachaspati, not Vachaspati, Padmapada, the Vivarana author, he says we have this this Upadgata is some other name he uses. That Maharnava ocean we have crossed, he says, just by after writing the Upadgata or introduction. So you can imagine the other main part of it is only introduction. Introduction, after writing that, he writes, we have crossed the vast ocean of Brihadaranyaka, Artika, something like that. I forget. So, my Gurudev told me to do Manan. How to do Manan? Generally, people study Sravan. Sravan is all right. Sravan, that is when you read a book or when somebody chants. For instance, Atmapriyananda chanted the Upanishad. What is that? Yes, Chandasam. Yes, Chandasam Rishabho Vishwarupaha. Yes, Chandasam. Chandas means here Vedas. From the Veda came out the Yes, Chandasam Rishabha. Rishabha is the Svata. The meaning, the Om, according to Indian thought, Om and God exists in all of us. In the beginning was the Word. In the St. John's Gospel says, in the beginning was the Word. The Word was God. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. So that God exists in the form of Chandasa Rishabha. Rishabha means bull. The bull in Indian thought. So that bull is Ravaraviti. The bull, if you have seen the bull, we had a bull in Mayavati, where I was the editor of our journal for nearly 8 years. So now and then this our bull is known as Mahesh. Mahesh will bellow, you, oh, like that. That is the first time I heard a bull bellowing. So, the God exists in all of us in the form of water. God does not exist as He is. God exists in all of us in the form of water. Spota means it is a different subject. I don't want to take up that. Spota, in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God. The St. John's Gospel begins with this. In the beginning was the Word. That Word exists. Word here. Word means the spota. The spota. Spota. Spota refers to the word Om. Om. Yes, Chandasam Rishabho Vishwarupaha Chando Pyo Tyamrita Sambhabhova. So God exists in all of us in the form of unspoken word. God does not exist in us as God, but He exists in all of us as the unspoken word. That unspoken word is known as the spota. Spota. It exists in all people as the spota. Spota means unuttered word. While talking, our words, the word capacity to talk, communicate. Man alone has got the capacity to talk. Animals don't have the capacity to talk. So talking is peculiar only to man, human beings. While talking, or the process, the power of communication is known as Shakti, Vak Shakti. Vak Shakti rises from the Muladhara or Kundalini. That's Vak Shakti. The Kundalini is the power of word through which knowledge comes to us. Kundalini exists in different forms. One form is Vak Shakti. So this Vak Shakti exists in the form of spota or an unuttered word. Om. Om is uttered. The uttered Om we hear. So that unuttered Om that passes through 4 stages of Vak Shakti. Vak Shakti rises through 4 stages. The first is para. The para is the bottommost, the Muladhara or Kundalini, where the Vak Shakti is stored. From the Muladhara or the Vak Shakti rises. First stage is called, what is it called? Para. Then at the navel, there is the Vak, the become Pashyanti. That is, he become aware, the meaning and the word become united. Those who are singers, singing also, if you study Indian music consists of so many melodies. Indian music is monophonic, whereas Western music is polyphonic. Polyphonic means point, counterpoint. One song, it is a combination of different melodies. In Indians, for most of the Indians, Western music, they cannot understand. Why? Because in the same tune, you find another tune coming, point and counterpoint. Whereas in Western music is polyphonic. So they don't like Indian music. Indian music appears to be monotonous. Same tune. It is just they are compared to the howling of jackals. howling of jackals, Indian music, because there is only one tune, whereas Western tune is what is this? Beethoven. Beethoven is canto, sixth canto, and all that. In Beethoven's music, it is a combination of different music melodies. Symphony. That is why they call it symphony. Symphony. Western people can appreciate symphony. In India, people cannot understand symphony. We prefer monophonic, single, same melody again and again. That is elaborated. This division of music into different ragas. Ragas are melodies. Takes place in the navel. That is known as the Pashyanti place. There was one great musician by name Bade Ghulam Ali Khan. Bade Ghulam Ali Khan. He will take 15 minutes to start singing. He will take 15 minutes to start singing. 15 minutes he will be doing like this. And he wanted to get established in the Manipuraka chakra. Manipuraka chakra. You know, the 6 chakras are there. So Manipuraka is the chakra center where the tune gets combined with the words and other things also take place. Anyway, Manipuraka is an important center. The Japanese hold, they believe that the soul is in the Manipuraka chakra. When Hindus believe that it is in the Anahata chakra, in the heart. Whereas the Japanese believe in the soul is in the Manipuraka chakra. So that is why they called what is called Harakiri. They cut open their stomach. That is where the Manipuraka chakra, the soul is liberated. That is the Japanese view. In Indian view, the soul is in the Anahata chakra. Anyway, Yatiswaranandaji Maharaj, he compiled those passages from the Upanishads and wrote that book, Divine Life. And he asked me to use that book. I didn't know at that time what to do with this book. Anyway, that is how I got and introduced into the scriptures, Hindu scriptures, Upanishads, Gita, and all that. I never read it. It is only from my Gurudev's selection. He has selected passages from the Upanishads and the Gita and compiled this book. And he asked me to read and meditate. They are meant for meditation. Sravana and Manana for Manana. Manana very rarely is done. Very rarely is done. Whereas in Catholic Church, Manana is more commonly done. They call it Lectio Divina. Lectio Divina. Lectio Divina means divine reading. That is, in Catholic Church, a nun or a monk is given 3 books. One is the Bible. That is, they call it Psalter. Another contains mostly Psalms and other passages. That is known as the breviary. So, breviary is meant to be chanted in the church or in the chapel. The church, private monastic church is called chapel. The public church is called church. Private rich man or monastic members, they don't like householders, devotees coming to the church. So monks have got a separate church that is called the chapel. So in the chapel they have to chant this breviary, that at other times in their rooms, private, in their rooms, the monks and nuns, they chant mostly the breviary and with meditation. That is, they do manan at that time. That is called Lectio Divina, divine reading. All monks and their Christianity also has got what we call dhyana or meditation. Meditation is there in Christianity also, but they don't call it meditation. Meditation in Christianity is equivalent to manan. Manan is what they call meditation. Then Sarvan, Manan, Nididhyasan. Nididhyasan is a higher type of dhyana. Dhyan, that is something you have to learn from the Guru, from your Guru, or from your own. You can learn it yourself, but at a great cost. So, Sravan, Manan, Nididhyasan. Nididhyasana is something you have to practice. You have to learn either from the Guru. The Guru teaches the Nididhyasana. Generally in our order, the Guru gives initiation. Initiation is given by giving a mantra and a deity, a devata. In India, Hindus worship many deities. At the same time, Hindus are not polytheistic like the ancient Babylonians. They were polytheistic, but Hindus are not polytheistic. They worship many gods, but they regard one ultimate God who includes Ekam Sad Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. There is one supreme Godhead, of which all the other gods are manifestations. So Yatiswaranandaji asked me to do this Manan, reading Sravan, Manan and Nididhyasana. Nididhyasana I repeat, learned by myself with great difficulty. The main problem is at the time of initiation, we are given not only a mantra, along with that, the form of a deity also. In nowadays, Sri Ramakrishna, the mantra, Sri Ramakrishna mantra is given. Along with that, you are asked to meditate on Sri Ramakrishna. Suppose you are given the mantra of Jesus Christ. Then you have to meditate on the form, the picture of Jesus Christ. So that depends upon the artist. I think you have seen the pictures of Jesus Christ. I have seen several pictures, all different. The picture of Jesus Christ, in one Christ is sitting dolefully, sorrowfully. That is known as Gethsemane pose. In the Gethsemane, there, what is that? Calvary, where Jesus was crucified. And next day, they went and saw that stone. There was somebody had taken the body of Christ and put it in a cave and covered the door, and the place of door, he covered the opening with a big stone. And the next day, Jesus' mother Mary, and her sister, there are 3 Marys in the Bible. Who are the 3 sisters, 3 Marys? One is Virgin Mary. Second is her sister. Her sister also was called Mary. Third one is Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene. So that is the third. There are 3 Marys in the Bible. Anyway, so Maharaj Yatiswaranandaji, in the book Divine Life, there he has given 4 laws of spiritual life. That I think they are given copies. Anyway, I shall try to explain it briefly. The 4 laws. The first law is the power of reality. That is, whatever you take to be real, if you take this world to be real, then you can't do meditation on higher type of meditation. Your mind will automatically go towards the world. The world has got such a power. Reality has such a power that will draw all our attention. We rarely think about the power of reality. The power of reality. Reality, whatever we take to be real, has got tremendous power. It will attract all our attention. However much you try to practice japa, meditation and all that, the mind will go towards the real world. The world, when the God will become real only when you get a kind of spiritual awakening, when you come into contact with a real reality, transcendental reality, that is a reality beyond the sense organs. That reality, unless you it comes as a kind of awakening through divine grace. Through divine grace, we try to meditate and try to bring down God through our yogic power. That can never be done. We need divine grace, the divine assistance. What exactly grace is very little known in Hinduism, whereas in Christianity, grace is an important subject. In grace, they speak of different types of grace, prevenient grace and grace. There are different types of grace. In Hinduism, grace is neglected. As a result, there are no quarrels. If you study history of Christian theology, most of the controversies are about divine grace. So they are about which, whereas our acharyas, Shankara, Ramanuja, they ignored divine grace. They assumed there is such a thing called grace. Similarly, karma, you'll find everywhere karma is assumed, but nowhere you will find a clear description of karma. What is karma? You don't find in Shankara's, Ramanuja's, or anybody Madhva's commentary. Grace, karma is assumed. It is there, accepted by all the acharyas. They did not write a philosophy of karma. As a result, Hinduism has not split into so many groups and sects. If you study Christian sects, you will find, what is it called? Monophysitism, and second is there are so many sects before the Protestants came later. Protestantism is split into 200 sects, whereas Catholic Church there is only one monolith, but it also had once upon a time several sects. What is it? It came to India. What is that? They came to Kerala. Yes, but what is that? They went to China and India. In China, they recently found no, not Sansevieria. Methodist, that is Protestant. Catholic Church itself, before when it formed, originated, at that time, they said that a bishop of Alexandria, he started Belur. Anyway, there were several sects. Monophysitism. Monophysitism is found in Ethiopia, Egypt, and Ethiopia, and in Kerala also, in India, you will find this monophysitism. Monophysitism holds there is only one Christ. In Christ, the divine and the human got completely fused. The other one, what is it? That is what I've been searching for. Anyway, the another sect holds the human Christ and divine Christ. They are entirely different. They crucified only the human Christ. They couldn't crucify the divine Christ.
Swamiji talks about Unitarian Christ.
Yeah, Unitarian came. It is a part of Protestant. Agnostic. Before the Gnostics, there was. Yes. Anyway, the first is the power of reality. Whatever we take to be real absorbs our whole mind. So if you want to know about transcendental reality, that is, transcendental means atindriya, beyond the sense organs. The transcendental reality. If you want to have a glimpse, you must undergo a kind of awakening, spiritual awakening, samadhi. There comes, there samadhi comes. Samadhi comes there. So that is, unless you get a samadhi, you can't know the other world, other reality, or God's reality. That is God's real nature. If you want to know, we must undergo some kind of awakening. Patanjali's Yoga Sutras are mainly meant to help in the attainment of awakening. That is Patanjali's Yoga. Anyway, Yatiswaranandaji used to speak about 4 laws. First is the law of the power of reality. reality has such a power that it draws our whole attention. So, as long as the world, as long as you regard the world as real, you can't go up. Your mind will go towards the world only. Whatever you try, however you try, you study Patanjali's yoga or Christian mysticism. Whatever you study, you can't go beyond this world. You can go beyond this world only when you get some kind of transcendental experience. So then the law of self-reference, this is an important law which many people forget. Our Avisa, the first law, says the law of reality. Whatever we take to be real will draw all our attention. The second law states that this our reality, our understanding of reality depends upon our understanding of ourselves. Especially girls. Girls, they play with dolls. Boys play with football and games. When they grow older, they lose interest. Girls lose interest in dolls. I remember my sister, my small sister, she had a doll, a small doll. And without, I didn't know she had taken it to be her own daughter or child. So without asking her, I took the doll and hung it in the car. So she felt so deeply hurt, as if her child had been taken away. The children, so they make in Japan, they think they regard girls, regard dolls as living. They don't throw away their dolls when they grow older. They preserve it. So that is, but anyway, after some time, we throw away dolls and playthings, and we run after God, like us. God, we become mad after God. One boy used to come to us. He was studying in the school. I told him, you complete at least the first class in the college. That is called 11th standard. Generally, colleges, schools, you start to end after 10th standard. 10th. So I told the boy, you complete at least 11th standard. But he wanted to realize God immediately. So he joined the order. He is still there. So this is the law of self-reference. Our understanding of reality depends upon our understanding of ourselves. A small boy, child, he cannot cross the road. A mother has to take him across the street, across the road. He can't see, look on this side and that side. The cars are coming and he cannot calculate the approximate distance the car will take. So you can't cross the road. Somebody has to hold the boy and take him across the road. So that depends upon our understanding of ourselves. As you grow, your understanding also of yourself also grows. Fichte was a German philosopher who spoke about, he developed self-philosophy. Fichte, a German philosopher. Fichte, he gave a feast, Bandara. We call it Bandara in India. He gave a Bandara to the students, and his son uttered the word I. You say, take for instance a boy by name John. Nobody calls him I. Everybody calls him John. So the boy also says, John wants this, John wants this, John wants that. You can't say, I want that, because nobody calls him I. Everybody calls him John. So he also regards himself as John. The same way, the law of self-reference, our understanding of reality depends upon our understanding of ourselves. Then the third law is the law of spiritual growth. This I have heard Maharaj telling several times. The law of spiritual growth. There are different stages in life, spiritual life. First, you begin with prayer. Then you can take up worship. There are some people, I know one woman, she spent all her life in worship. So, different stages in growth. In Patanjali, you will see different stages are there. First is Savitarka, Savichara, Visarka, Vichara, Ananda, Asmita, Samadhi. Different stages are there. So the law of spiritual growth says that when you advance on the spiritual path, you have to take up higher and higher spiritual paths. In my case, to refer my case, not out of egoism, but just to explain, I saw my stage came when I want to take up this Nididhyasana. Nididhyasana, people are unable to take up because they are unable to give up the image worship. In India, worship is always connected with images. Murti. You see the Durga Puja, Kali Puja. In pujas, they make clay models, and when it is over, they throw away. So in the same way, puja murti, we are given a form of the deity only for what is it called drishti saukaryam. Drishti saukaryam, to focus the mind on a particular thing. For that we are given different deities, the forms of different deities. But if we very often get attached to one particular deity and refuse to give up that form. For instance, Sri Ram Krishna. Sri Ram Krishna, you begin your meditation with Sri Ram Krishna and you refuse to give up that. In my case also, I found it difficult to give up Sri Ram Krishna. To give up Sri Ram Krishna meant forgetting God. That means you forget God. But as Yatiswaranandaji Maharaj used to say, we may forget God, but God doesn't forget us. In the Quran, Muhammad says, you don't see God, but God sees you. So, the law of spiritual growth, as you advance on the spiritual path, in my case, for 30 years, my spiritual growth was stunted. Why? Because I refused to give up the image. When the time comes, we must have the courage to give up even the image. Sri Ram Krishna, Holy Mother, all those are only photos and images. We must have the courage to give up. So this is called the law of the spiritual growth. The last law is the law of concentration. Law of concentration means what is in meditation. We are bothered about our concentration. I am not getting concentration. People complain. If they complained to Yatiswaranandaji that I am not getting concentration, Maharaj would say, it is good. It is good that you don't get concentration. Why? Because if the mind must to be purified first, purification. If you read Saint John of the Cross, Saint John of the Cross must have been translated into Italian, I think. In Saint John of the Cross, he wrote 2 books. The Ascent of Mount Carmel, and the other one is Dark Night of the Soul. In the Dark Night of the Soul, he speaks about different stages. And Saint Teresa, in her book, also speaks about different stages. You must grow according to this. In Christianity, they don't use a precise language. In Sanskrit is a precise language. So that's why in yoga definite terms, samprajnata, asamprajnata, samadhi, and samadhi, dhyana, and different stages or different names, but in Christianity they don't have. So Teresa, for instance, Saint Teresa of Avila, there are two Teresas. One is a French Teresa, that is Teresa of Lisieux. The other one is Teresa of Avila, Teresa of Avila. So in the Teresa of Avila speaks about, today she divides prayer into two groups, active and passive. I think most of the Christians themselves never heard this division. First of all, prayer is divided into two stages, active and passive. Active stage is the stage when you struggle to get the mind concentrated. Passive, that she calls it Saint Teresa calls it, is the common term, betrothal and marriage and all that. So anyway, so as we grow in concentration, the law of concentration says yoga is a method of concentration of mind. To teach you concentration of mind, is it not? Meditation is a method of concentration, attaining concentration. But before concentration is attained, you should attain purification of mind. Saint John of the Cross, he speaks about two kinds of purification. Can any of you tell me two kinds of purification? Saint John of the Cross used to speak of two kinds of purification. One is stula, that is gross purification, and the other is sukshma, or subtle purification. Anyway, without attaining purity, if you concentrate the mind will be concentrated on impure thoughts. Such a mind will become, as Maharaj used to say, will become like a bombshell, and it will burst and may destroy the person himself. I have heard Yatiswaranandaji telling this several times. He used to say, first you attain purification and then concentration. Otherwise, if you try to attain concentration of mind, that is what many people do. They try to attain concentration or ekagrata. Ekagrata, if you attain without purification, then the mind will get concentrated on impure thoughts, impure part of the mind. Such a mind which is not purified, which gets concentrated on an impure part of the mind, will become, as Maharaj says, like a bomb shell, and it will burst. And nowadays, bomb shell is replaced by grenade. By in the formerly they used to trench warfare. They throw grenade into the trench. So these are the 4 laws of concentration. The first is the law of reality. Reality, power has got a power to draw our mind. The second is the law of self-reference. Our understanding of reality depends upon our understanding of ourselves. The doll, children play with dolls and play things. When they grow older, they give up. Why? Because their understanding of themselves have grown. I told you about Fichte. Fichte, the German philosopher, he developed the philosophy of the self. Fichte, he gave a bandara to his friends when his son uttered the word I, because John, for instance, a boy's name is John. Everybody addresses him, calls him John. Nobody calls him I. So he doesn't know how to use the word I. He says, John wants this. I think most of the few of you might have seen children so talking. They say, Ramu chai this, Ramu wants this, Ramu wants this, that, and all that. Because he doesn't know, I want this. I has not developed in him. So these are the 4 laws. The law of life, the law of self, the law of spiritual growth. As we grow, you have to take up higher disciplines. In the Christian spirituality, these clear stages are marked. If you have got this book, there must be in the Italian also. I have got with me English, the different stages in progress. According you have to, if you study yoga, Patanjali's Yoga is a wonderful book. But few people understand the real meaning of the terms. Yes.
One or two questions will we take now?
Yes, I am prepared.
Some serious questions about spiritual life and sadhana in general, not theoretical questions, about what was being spoken about. You can translate. Yeah. If there are 1 or 2 questions, Maharaj is willing to answer.
Come allenare la mente alla concentrazione? La seconda, possiamo dire che la concentrazione è un'attenzione continua totale? La terza, ci sono degli esercizi... Sorry. Come allenare la mente? No, la terza, ci sono degli esercizi precisi per allenare la mente alla concentrazione? Grazie.
You have spoken a lot about concentration. He is asking how we can train our mind for concentration. Vuoi dire concentrazione generale o questa concentrazione più spirituale di cui ha parlato lui? Prego. Spiritualmente. Yes, for this kind of spiritual concentration. How can we train to... Ecco, la risposta molto brevemente.
How to Patanjali's yoga use 8 steps.
La ricetta ce l'abbiamo già perché sono gli 8 passaggi, gli 8 gradini di Patanjali, e Swami ha detto prima si deve purificare e dopo si può intraprendere un percorso di concentrazione.
Actually, in the 4th law is mentioned, before you go for concentration, go for purification of the mind. The example given in Hinduism is Ravana. Ravana had so much of concentration, great tapasvi, but he did not purify himself, that led him to disaster. So go for purity first, before you go for concentration. That is the 4th law, there's no mention.
È la quarta legge che ha spiegato Swamiji, cioè prima bisogna, per attraversare il percorso di purificazione, ha fatto l'esempio di Ramana, che è nella mitologia indiana, e che non avrebbe potuto ottenere nessun risultato se non prima si fosse purificato.
Here also Maharaj is mentioning stages of purification, gross purification, subtle purification and so on.
E ha parlato Swamiji di una purificazione densa, grossolana, e di una purificazione sottile, quindi anche nella purificazione ci sono degli step e dei gradini successivi e progressivi.
Anyone else?
You just speak about para and pashanti. Could you also just complete the other two? Swamiji, please. Thank you so much.
There, according to the Tantras, six planes. First.
Funziona? Ci ha parlato dei livelli del suono, para e pashanti, si può completare.
The first is Muladhara, Adhisthana, Manipuraka. Manipuraka is in the navel. Then Anahata is in the heart. Anahata. Then this one, Vishuddha, in the throat. And in the eyebrows, between eyebrows, that is Agya. That is between the eyebrows. And the Sahasrara, 1000 petal, that is not a chakra. A chakra refers only to the human individual consciousness. The chakra, the Sahasrara, 1000 petaled lotus at the head. That is where the individual self and the Supreme Self, they become one. So this is not regarded as a chakra. There are only six chakras. A chakra is a point where the human and the divine meet. When you grow in the apart from chakras, there are what are called granthis. Granthis and chakras. Chakras and granthi. Yes, granthi.
Not.
Granthi means actually not. Not why? Because that is the three places where Ida and the Pingala. Ida and the Pingala, two side channels. The central channel is called Sushumna, but they don't communicate. They are independent. The Ida, Pingala and Sushumna, they are all independent. They communicate in three places. Those three places are called knots. Knots, why? Because that is where the three, all the three, that is Ida, Pingala, Sushumna, these three meet, open into each other. They open. So that forms what is called a granthi. These are called granthis. First, the granthi is below the navel. Below the navel chakra, Manipuraka chakra. Below that, first granthi is called Rudra granthi. First granthi. Rudra granthi, without breaking, piercing that granthi, you can't go up. So what happens in the time of meditation or at other times also by God's grace. Sometimes the first awakening is the awakening, the breaking of the Rudra Granthi. Rudra Granthi breaks open and the Kundalini goes up. The Kundalini usually cannot go up. It goes up to Manipuraka and stops there. The first Kundalini moves only during the first three chakras, Manipuraka, Swadhisthana, Manipuraka, and Swadhisthana, Muladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipuraka, these three chakras. And then Rudra Granthi is broken. That is the first awakening. Then a person gets sees the inner light in the next chakra. That is the Anahata chakra. So Anahata, before you get entry into Anahata, you have to break open the Rudra Nadi, Rudra knot. Rudra. So that is the first knot to be broken. If that is broken, then you may get many powers. Some people become good orators. They can talk, and thousands of people will hang upon their words. Or you may become good writer, or you become a dancer, a good dancer, or any such thing, any singer, any special quality that comes to us, that is all because the Rudra Granthi you have broken. It is all the result of the awakening of the Kundalini power. And the Kundalini power, first when it awakens, you get various other physical powers.
Then she wanted the other two.
Yes, para, pasyanti, then anahata.
Chama Vaikari.
Oh, that one. That is that Vak Shakti. Vak Shakti goes up through the 4 stages. Para, pasyanti, then Madhyama, and Vaikari while talking. Talking is Vaikari. The energy is lost in talking. Energy is in talking. That's why spiritual people don't talk. Avoid talking. Talking, we lose lot of energy. Yes, sir.
I will quickly summarize in simple Italian.
Velocemente quello che gli avevo chiesto di completare il percorso del suono che aveva iniziato, quindi ha parlato poi ha introdotto un altro concetto molto interessante. Per riassumere, i 3 stati sono quelli che ha citato, più Madhyama che è quello intermedio dove viene formulato il pensiero, e Vaikari è l'energia che viene trasformata in parola concreta, quindi in comunicazione. Ha accennato anche al potere che ha il suono, la parola, attraverso il passaggio dei chakra, e ha precisato che i chakra sono 6, non 7, come a volte si dice, perché il 7° chakra non è un chakra. I chakra appartengono solo alla specie umana e quando si superano i 6 chakra si arriva alla condizione di divino, per cui non sono più chiamati chakra. Ha parlato anche in maniera interessante delle nadi che costituiscono il corpo pranico, che conosciamo, Ida, Pingala e Sushumna, e queste 3 nadi normalmente sono indipendenti, funzionano ognuno per conto loro nella condizione ordinaria. Nello yoga si è scoperto che ci sono dei punti precisi in cui queste 3 nadi si incontrano, che vengono chiamati granti, che vuol dire anche nodo, e che questi nodi devono essere sciolti. Ha parlato a lungo del primo nodo soltanto, che è Rudra Granti, che è a livello dei 3 chakra inferiori, normalmente si pensa in Muladhara, e che ha lo scopo, una volta sciolto questo nodo, di risvegliare Kundalini, ma nelle condizioni ordinarie Kundalini non va mai oltre Manipura. Poi magari ne parliamo, questo è un po' riassunto quello che ha spiegato, interessanti questi concetti sulle nadi. Thank you very much.
We had a very fruitful, wonderful session with Revered Maharaj in the morning. So tomorrow, once again at 9:30, we will begin, and we will talk about a different subject tomorrow. The whole thing will be spiritual orientation. According to your necessity, you can ask a few questions if you like. And the afternoon program is around 3:30. You now have your lunch and rest for some time. 3:30, some of our employees will take you for a round of Belur Math. See all the temples, the history of these temples, etc. There is one place called Nilambar Mukherjee's Garden House that used to be the old Math before it was shifted to Belur Math. It's a very sacred place where Sharda Devi, the Holy Mother, she performed what is known as Pancha Tappa, 5 fires. 4 fires on 4 sides, and sun, blazing sun will be our whole day from sunrise to sunset. We performed tapasya. That was the place where Swami Vivekananda composed some of the Aratrika hymns. Aratrika means the whisper service in the evening, the stotras he composed there. So after having around 5 o'clock, I should go to the main temple. Arrangements have been made. For those who can't sit, about half a dozen chairs, I have told them. And those who can't sit can sit in the chair. You will attend the wonderful Aratrika, which Swami Vivekananda initiated, based largely in the Western model also, because collective singing of this kind was not known in Hinduism earlier. Only bhajans were known. So Swamiji introduced us with the organ, etc. It looked like a Christian choir kind of thing. So after attending the Aratrikam, you can meditate for some time there. You will not be allowed to go to other temples. There you can sit and meditate. 8 o'clock you come here last time for supper, dinner, and then go and rest. So this is for today. Again 9 o'clock, 9:15 you come here. We'll have the morning. And tomorrow afternoon we have arranged a boat trip, or Antonita wanted a boat trip. So across the Ganges you will have a boat trip. Go to Dakshineshwar, visit and come back. That is the... And tomorrow in the evening at 8 o'clock, the Revered General Secretary, Swami Yatiswaranandaji, has kindly consented to meet all of you. So that's tomorrow's program. Day after tomorrow, morning after breakfast, I think she will take you back to wherever you are supposed to be going. That is the program for today and tomorrow. Thanks for your understanding, cooperation, and your eagerness with which you listen to Maharaj's talk. Thank you. So we'll end with the Shanti Mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnad Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishnaarpanamastu.
E che questa è la vera natura di ognuno. Cioè ha fatto il paragone, nel Vedanta si chiama coscienza. Sorry Swamiji, I'm just making a summary in translation. Nel Vedanta si chiama coscienza ed è quel tipo di coscienza che esiste di per sé senza bisogno di nessun'altra manifestazione o sostegno. E ha detto che questo è un concetto quasi di fede, di credo, fa proprio parte della natura del credo degli indiani, quelli che seguono la religione induista, ma anche le tradizioni Vedanta, che sono più di ordine filosofico, se vogliamo, anche se sfociano sempre nella religione, di accettare questo dogma, cioè la coscienza esiste di per sé. Poi c'è una sorta di visione che può essere corporale, mentre la prima è immaginativa, quindi si immagina, si vede un'immagine della divinità, la seconda si vede proprio la divinità come se fosse una persona, quindi con la presenza di un corpo che assomiglia probabilmente ai nostri. Ed è una visione della forma fisica che hanno sperimentato molti mistici cristiani, e lo sappiamo insomma nella tradizione cristiana, e si chiama Para nell'induismo, la visione dell'assoluto. Poi ha fatto un esempio della madre di Gopala che ha avuto questa visione. Gopala è una delle tante divinità o incarnazioni di divinità, però questo non l'ho seguito molto bene. Si può tradurre come visione del trascendente, non visione che può essere paragonata alla visione che noi abbiamo con gli occhi umani. È una visione del tutto diversa, per esempio quella che ha avuto Santa Caterina da Siena. Poi c'è la visione intellettuale, e allora anche qui è soltanto una visione che può essere paragonata a quello che noi conosciamo sotto forma di luce. non c'è altro elemento che ce la può descrivere sotto forma già nota a chi non ha fatto questa esperienza, ovviamente. E Ramakrishna in particolare ha avuto molto spesso, ha descritto questa sua visione, cioè lui non l'ha descritta, l'hanno descritta i suoi discepoli, come manifestazione di risveglio di Kundalini. Ed è stato anche il risultato immediato della preghiera di San Giovanni della Croce e di altri mistici della nostra tradizione. Quindi queste sono le visioni che si possono avere. Poi ha parlato della gloria umana. Allora qui devo rileggere un po'. È una visione beatifica per chi la possiede. L'esempio ha fatto l'esempio di San Francesco d'Assisi e di altri che hanno avuto questo tipo di visione. Nel pensiero, nella filosofia indiana, viene chiamato avidya, cioè quella visione che toglie il velo dell'ignoranza. Quindi è come se avessimo la visione della verità, della realtà improvvisa. Non riesco a leggere cosa ho scritto. Ah, sì, è anche interessante nel Vedanta la distinzione tra il Brahman, cioè l'assoluto, che non può essere manifestato in altro modo. Allora, Dvaita vuol dire non duale, non c'è altro termine nel nostro linguaggio comprensibile che possa definire tale realtà, una realtà che non ha nulla se non unità assoluto e tutto ciò che è assoluto e che non riguarda mai la dualità. Quindi l'Advaita è proprio questa filosofia della non dualità. Quando siamo nella dualità siamo nel mondo della manifestazione e non nel mondo del trascendente. Ha fatto l'esempio di diverse correnti dell'Advaita dicendo che l'assioma principale dell'Advaita è che non ci può essere distinzione tra il conoscitore, ciò che è conosciuto, e il processo di conoscimento. Quindi queste tre fasi che noi conosciamo per le realtà ordinarie sono assolutamente superate in questo tipo di visione. Questi tre elementi sono fusi in un unico elemento e non è possibile farla come esperienza umana. Bisogna trascendere il livello di conoscenza umana. È l'esperienza ultima nell'Advaita che appunto riunisce questi tre momenti: colui che conosce, il processo per arrivare alla conoscenza e il conosciuto. E ha fatto l'esempio anche di Eckhart che si è sperimentato in questa tipologia di conoscenza. Ha parlato anche dei mistici russi, Serafino di Sarov e un santo di Mosca di cui non ricordiamo il nome, penso sia San Basilio ma forse no. E quindi questi sono i 4 tipi di esperienze spirituali che si possono avere. Ha parlato dell'esperienza del suo guru che si è ispirato ovviamente alle 4 leggi della vita divina e le ha spiegate abbondantemente, avete anche il riassunto, quindi quello non lo riassumo. Ha ripreso i 2 tipi di purificazione che anche San Giovanni della Croce ha sperimentato e citato, cioè una purificazione più grossolana degli elementi grossolani della vita e una purificazione anche del sottile, perché ci sono pericoli, ci sono intoppi, ci sono tranelli anche nella vita spirituale. Poi ha risposto alla domanda come allenare la mente e gli ho chiesto di terminare nel concetto dei parti del suono, e quello ve l'ho già riassunto prima, insomma, quindi questi sono i concetti principali. Ho saltato la seconda pagina? Sì. Ho parlato della meditazione? No. Ho saltato una pagina, vabbè, la riprendiamo. Allora, parlando di meditazione, nella concetto occidentale, quando noi parliamo di meditazione, si intende una intensa riflessione, quindi è il mentale che lavora. Invece nella tradizione indù e anche nella tradizione yoga è un altro processo. La traduzione corretta di dhyana, che è il termine per meditazione, sarebbe contemplazione. Ha parlato anche della Lexio Divina, ha fatto quindi dei paragoni tra le meditazioni cristiane che prevedono la Lexio Divina, poi la concentrazione, l'attenzione e infine la contemplazione, che dovrebbe terminare con la fusione con l'oggetto contemplato. Ha parlato anche di Marco Aurelio, che ha scritto le meditazioni di Marco Aurelio, ma in realtà sono le riflessioni di Marco Aurelio. Allora, nella sadhana Advaita, cioè nella sadhana della corrente non duale del Vedanta, ci sono diversi stati. Ha citato Sarvana, se ho capito bene, che è la fase dell'ascolto, cioè tutte le sapienze e gli insegnamenti che vengono dati dal maestro cominciano con l'ascolto, precisando che in India la tradizione, essendo prevalentemente orale, l'ascolto era la fase importante. Poi tanti e quando venivano recitati questi testi, venivano, come dice, cantati. Vi dicevo che in realtà è piuttosto una cadenza di metrica, e questo è sempre importante in questa tradizione, perché secondo lui il canto Vedanta contiene e include anche il concetto di riflessione, cioè non è soltanto espressione sonora vocale, ma contiene anche il processo di riflessione intrinseco a questa modalità di recitare. Ha citato le 3 scuole dell'Advaita Vedanta, non sono sicura di averle capito bene, quindi Vartika, che è il commento sulla Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, lo sviluppo. Di fatto tutti i testi classici sono stati prima commentati da grandi saggi, come Vajrapata Mishra, come Vijnanapata, eccetera, e come Shankara in particolare, e poi ci sono stati i commentatori dei commenti. Ecco, quindi ha fatto una lunga dissertazione su questo che non ho capito proprio precisamente, quindi la riassumiamo così. C'è il Vartika, appunto, che è che vuol dire espansione, quindi commentare, e poi c'è il Vyasa, che è ulteriore approfondimento e con la spiegazione proprio della parola. Ha citato spesso l'importanza della parola. Prabhupada, il discepolo, commenti e i commenti di Shankaracharya. Ha parlato del processo di mana mana, che è un processo, come dire, di quasi rivoltare la mente e cominciare a rivoltare il pensiero, quindi in altre parole potrebbe essere decondizionare i pensieri già precostituiti e lasciare libero la forza del pensiero per una giusta interpretazione. Poi ha fatto una lunga dissertazione sul toro che non ho capito, quindi ve la salto, e citando però i versi del Vangelo di Giovanni: in principio era il Verbo, e il Verbo era presso Dio, e il Verbo era Dio, che è molto simile, non l'ha citato, ma è molto simile a un passo del Veda, credo del Rig Veda, che dice esattamente le stesse cose con parole diverse. Questo verbo lui l'ha tradotto come spota, che probabilmente è lo stesso significato di verbo o di logos, come è nel testo greco, e che è l'om. L'om, che è un suono eterno, e questo verbo, questo suono eterno, è in ognuno di noi come parola, sempre esistente e che sostiene, ma è una parola inespressa, perché quando viene espressa ha un altro significato e un'altra gerarchia, possiamo dire. Quindi è proprio l'essenza stessa della parola che forse rende bene anche il termine logos. perché la parola è la specificità della specie umana ed è forse quello che più lo accomuna all'origine che è l'Om, secondo questa tradizione, che è un'origine sonora, quindi c'è una sorta di sacralità anche nella parola che distingue la specie umana da tutte le altre specie. E questa parola viene chiamata Vak Shakti, cioè la forza, la potenza. Vak è la parola, come logos, è con la V maiuscola ovviamente. Questa parola o questa sonorità nell'individuo viene manifestato come un suono che assomiglia all'Om ovviamente e che è depositato, inespresso, alla base della nostra struttura energetica sottile dei chakra, cioè i Muladhara chakra, sotto forma di Kundalini. Quindi la Kundalini è una sorta di eco che rimane di questa sonorità che non è espressa e che quindi dovrebbe essere risvegliata. Ed è così con la Kundalini che si risveglia che si arriva alla conoscenza. Quindi la Kundalini è la prima forma inespressa appunto di Vak Shakti della parola. Questa parola ha diversi passaggi che sono Para, che ha spiegato è l'assoluto, e così come l'abbiamo descritto fino adesso, Pashyanti, che ha detto essere situato al livello di Manipura Chakra, dove la coscienza del significato, dove si ha coscienza del significato della parola. Sarebbe una sorta di traduttore, potremmo dire, adesso sono di moda i traduttori automatici, bene, Manipura è un po' il traduttore anche di questo suono inespresso. Poi ho fatto una distinzione tra la musica indiana monofonica e polifonica, bene, così i raga, e dice che la musica indiana è monotona, ma proprio per questo motivo, e che noi amiamo di più la sinfonica e loro amano di più la monofonica. E che appunto Vivekananda chiedeva a tutti quanti i suoi discepoli di leggere e meditare, quindi praticare questo processo che ha chiamato Manomana e che ha paragonato alla Lectio Divina, cioè leggere ma anche meditare sul significato. Dhyana è appresa dal maestro e non può essere appresa da soli, quindi ci vuole una guida per praticare la meditazione. Ed è assegnato il processo di risveglio appunto della meditazione con un'iniziazione che viene fatta dal maestro, dove viene dato un mantra della divinità, ma anche l'immagine, cioè si viene definito la divinità alla quale riferirsi come meditazione. Ha precisato che l'induismo non è una religione politeista, anche se ci sono infinite varietà di divinità. È una religione monoteista, cioè crede nell'esistenza di una divinità suprema, unica. E che è associata, per esempio, al principio della meditazione sul Cristo, dove si medita o con la preghiera di Gesù o con altre preghiere, ma anche sull'immagine del Cristo. E poi ha parlato delle 4 leggi della vita spirituale. Allora, la corretta traduzione di dhyana dovrebbe essere contemplazione, visione metafisica. Questo è un po' il riassunto di quello che ha detto lo Swami.